This is the story of a highly sought after dark velvety Anthurium, a plant with black-green foliage and drastically varying leaf shapes. A plant that has been auctioned, hybridized, and scraped from the forest floor by poachers due to its popularity, and allegedly wholesaled to some of the largest tropical plant growers in Ecuador. This is the story of the Anthurium Pap, or Papi, or papillilaminum. Just don't ask me to spell it. Our story begins 4,000 miles from Los Angeles, tucked into the Caribbean coast of Central America, on the banks of the Panama Canal. In the province of Cohen, Panama, an Anthurium with blackish-green velvety leaves is discovered by Tom Croat in the 1970s. Instead of having the silver veination like Anthurium crystallinum, the pap has a muted green veination that gently contrasts the dark foliage. The specimens collected differ drastically in their leaf shape too, specifically the sinus of the leaf. That's the space between the two upper lobes of the leaf. The first thing you learn about pap is there isn't just one. It varies dramatically. There's around 30 pure paps, which are considered to be wild clones. Think of these as the ones that humans didn't mess with, at least to our knowledge. It's possible that they did the plant sex off on their own, but we didn't have any hand in that. So we'll call them pure paps. Paps have some strict care requirements, and the climate of Panama has exactly what it needs. Around 80% humidity, lots of light, and temp where the lows are 70 and the highs are 85. Treat your paps accordingly. So who are these wild clone pure paps? Number 1 through 18, often paired with an RA, and that stands for Rory Antolak, who collected these from Panama. After the 18, there are other name varieties from J. Vannini, Scott Cohen, and Dwane Burgess, just to name a few. Some beautiful varieties with some funny names like Gator Skin, Swamp Bunny, Dad Bod, Gardens, A+, Alpha, Beta, Green Genie, Daniel, and my personal favorite, Ralph Lynam, whose leaf bears a really wide sinus in comparison to the other paps. This specimen, collected in 91, looks like it could be a Ralph. And finally, we have Fort Sherman, named after an army base in Panama along the canal, assuming close to where they might have found this plant. The pap exploded in popularity in 2021. But unfortunately in 2022, a massive poaching event took place in Guna, Yala, Panama, and the poached plants were then exported to Southeast Asia as well as Ecuador. The poachers are suspected to be involved with the poaching of Anthurium dressleri and Kunayalense, also in Panama. The large exporters of tropicals in Ecuador are thought to have purchased these poached plants. The red flags are the timing of the inventory arriving as well as the large stems of the plants. The poaching occurred in fall of 2022, and coincidentally, they were brought into stock just after this. The plants were also growing fresh shoots from huge chunks of stem. Large diameter chonks are typically signs of poaching. It takes a long time for these to develop in nature, let alone cultivation, and most domestic production is done through seeds or divisions. There are some opinions on Reddit that allege Ecuagenera purchased lots of these poached plants. Justin Jones of createdinagarden questioned Ecuagenera publicly on Instagram about the origin of their paps. Ecuagenera then replied that they cannot make a statement on every single plant that comes to market and that they are busy protecting natural habitats in Ecuador. Justin then asked if they would share some photos of the large mother plants these paps were cut from, but there was never a response. Justin then reaches out to the supposed poachers, and they tell him that not only are they selling to Ecuagenera, but they're also selling to Tropicals. And if he wants, they can sell to him also. Again, these are unfounded claims, but it is very interesting. Ecuagenera has still not responded to these claims. Tropical Central America also seems to be allegedly selling poached paps in Singapore. Although any papi with the name Kunayalense attached to it is likely of poached origin. It's always important to ask the origin of your plants. It's easy to see if it's a division or if it's seed grown. Many buyers in the US and Asia have received these unknowingly poached Anthuriums. The great news is that the market is moving towards cultivated hybridized Anthuriums from small domestic sellers. And crosses of plants have the ability to exhibit hybrid vigor and perform better than their parents. Many of the popular paps are being self-pollinated like Dwane's Anthurium Lynam, and many times this maintains the characteristics of the original plant. Or take Justin Jones's Kunayalense Pap hybrid, which is absolutely stunning. Seeds or seedlings can be purchased from importers or domestic sellers. Just don't be afraid to ask the origin of your plants, and if you see a big chonk of a stem, it's probably too good to be true and it could be a poached plant. If you enjoyed this week's video, please hit the thumbs up down below and remember to subscribe. We'll see you next week.